You said something in a conversation we had earlier today, something to the effect of if we simply leave people wanting to repeat the event, we've failed. Can you tell me I don't know if I said it right.
Yeah,
but
that's
can you
very,
explain more about that?
If we lead a time of corporate worship, we leave them simply wanting to do what we just did, I think we've not done what we're called to do. I'm not called to lead a worship experience. As a pastor, as a leader of the church, I'm called to build a worshiping community. It's what Peter talks about in the second chapter of his first letter, where he is saying that you, like living stones, come to him, the living stone, are being built into a spiritual house to offer sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ. We're becoming a spiritual house. We're a temple. We're a building. And so he goes on then to describe what those sacrifices look like. And they're not just the songs we sing. In fact, he doesn't mention the songs. He mentions live your lives among the pagans in such a way that they may glorify God on the day he visits us. Be able to give an answer to anyone who asks you for the reason for the hope that's within you. Husbands and wives relate to one another in the way that God intended you to. So it's the way we live our lives. So I want to lead in such a way that people leave saying, okay, I want to live my life for the glory of Jesus Christ. I've been singing about it, and now I want to do it. I want to live for him that way. So it could mean things like I want to be more truthful. I want to be more humble. I want to be more faithful. I want to be more submitted to my parents. I want to be pure for the glory of Jesus Christ and by his power. So I think that's what times of corporate worship are meant to do. It's not simply recharging and pulling out and trying to live
plug into the Spirit.
Yes, and then pull out. And no, it's more like we're to continue the analogy, we're like electric razors, where if you're not plugged in, nothing's going on. But you could see the corporate meeting kind of as a high voltage, time where it should inspire, it should encourage, it should equip, it should refresh, it should remind, it should restore, it should do all those things. That's why God gives the gifts of the Spirit, so that we're ministering to one another. The body is built up when the church gathers, so that when the church scatters, we continue to do the same thing. And then we gather again because of the desire to confess together the gospel realities that give our lives meaning.
So what's wrong, is there, if anything, is there anything wrong with someone leaving and wanting to repeat that experience? Is that wrong in itself?
That's a great question. No, not in itself. I think you can idolize the experience. In other words, you can go to one extreme or the other. There are some who so emphasize worship as all of life that the time of the corporate gathering is totally minimized, and it's kind of take it or leave it. Well, why not stay home, read my Bible? I remember driving to a conference once with my wife, and years ago, and she said, "Oh, I can't wait to go to celebration, this conference, and to worship the Lord there." And in my maturity and compassion, I said, "Julie, you can do that at home in the living room." And I thought that was such a wise, seasoned response. I realized how stupid it was, what a moron I was. Because there is I would say, a more intense way that the Spirit will manifest himself when we gather. I mean, the church gathered is probably the closest, demonstration we have on earth of the analogies that God uses for the church, the temple. Where the church gathered, the building, those kinds of things. So there is a uniqueness to it. But the other extreme is to say that it's really crucial. It's really, you don't meet God apart from this. And so we just want to avoid both extremes. Highly value the corporate meeting. But then those times of corporate worship, corporate singing, because it is a time when the Spirit often manifests himself in unique or demonstrable ways, but not see that as the only time God can speak to us, the only time God can meet us, the only time we worship God.
Is God more present when we gather together?
I would say he's present in a unique and distinctive way. He's not more present. So we can get the impression that he's more present. Oh, wow.
Because we experience it differently.
Yes, because we experience it differently. And the reason I think is because we are surrounded by people who are proclaiming passionately, hopefully, these incredible truths of God's Word, reminding us of what Jesus has done, who he is, what he's accomplished for us, how it's affected our lives. So we're meditating on the glory of God. And 2 Corinthians 3:17-18 says, as we gaze on the glory of God, we are being transformed by the Spirit from one degree of glory to another. That's happening, that's taking place. Well, of course, we're going to feel like, whoa, God's here. Yeah. Well, he's really everywhere. And he's just, because of what's happening, revealing himself in a more distinct and pronounced way. So that's how I'd see it.